Good afternoon and welcome to our first meeting of October. We have a few people in the audience and hopefully we have some folks watching us on our Electric City Television. Invocation tonight will be led by Councilman Matt Harbin in respects to the flags by Councilman John Roberts. Please rise.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, I pray for our city residents. I pray for our employees of the city that you protect us and guide us to make wise decisions. I pray for our country and our elected leaders, that our leaders would show compassion and respect to one another. I pray for this council that we may show respect and compassion to one another to set an example to others. I pray for our first responders, that you would protect them from harm. And I pray for our friends and neighbors in Florence, South Carolina, that we remember the officers and their families during this time. Continue to protect and lead us in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The minutes of our September 24th meeting have been distributed. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Not hearing any, do I have a motion to approve? First by the Mayor Pro Tem, second by Mr. John Roberts. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The minutes of September 24th passed unanimously. We have one item of old business, and that item is request consideration of an ordinance to annex and zone to R5 single-family residential, 3.56 acres located at 1912 East Calhoun Street. Ms. McConnell.
Mayor and Council, this is a piece of property that is one in which its annexation will allow us to take advantage of a vacant parcel of land that's sandwiched between existing properties that are within the city limits and help further its development for single-family residential use. As the Mayor said, this is 3.56 acres. It is proposed to construct 14 single-family houses. The properties on either side of it, you'll know best as Cobblestone East and Cobblestone West, which are already developed as single-family residential. This would be similar. The minimum lot size requirement for that R5 zoning designation is 5,000 square feet, but it's estimated based upon the 14 units and the development of a street within the property that the lot sizes will average around 6,800 square feet. We did have this go before the Planning Commission on October the 2nd. It was unanimously recommended for approval. And while there were a few questions that were received by our Planning and Development Office, no one expressed opposition. They simply asked what the rezoning and annexation was about. Once it is annexed and zoned, it would have to go through our subdivision process, which would mean that it would meet our guidelines with reference to the lot sizes, the road itself, the width, and the specifications for all of those things in the subdivision process. Mr. McKenzie is here this evening if you have any additional questions, but based upon all of that, we would certainly recommend that you have first reading on this annexation and zoning.
Thank you, Ms. McConnell. Any questions, comments? Ms. Chapman?
This is located in the area I serve, and I have received no calls for or against. So with that, I move that we accept it as proposed.
First by Mr. Chapman.
Second.
Second by Mr. Jeff Roberts. Maurice, both of the subdivisions to the east and the west, how dense are those units? I see do you know off the top of your head how many houses are each one of those units?
I do know off the top of my head.
All right.
I thought that might be a question that was asked tonight, but yes, just going back to this proposed subdivision, what is given to us as a concept, the average lot size is 6,875 square feet. The largest lot is about 9,500. The smallest lot is about 5,600 square feet. But when you look at Cobblestone East, the average lot size is about 4,000 square feet, and then Cobblestone West is about 4,800 square feet. So when you look at those two subdivisions that are adjacent to it, this is significantly larger.
Mm-hmm. Good, thank you. Not hearing anything else, had a first and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes unanimously on the first reading. We have 3 items of new business, and the first item of new business is request consideration of a resolution authorizing the Municipal Association of South Carolina to collect debt in accordance with the Setoff Debt Collection Act. Ms. McCollum?
Items 1 and 2 are related to one another, so you'll hear us repeat a few things as we describe what we're asking for. The first is the resolution, and it is something that we've done before. It goes back to 2003. It authorizes the Municipal Association of South Carolina to be our claimant agent for any set-off debt that we pursue in accordance with the law. Again, this is something that we've done for a number of years. It allows the Municipal Association to collect the information from us about anyone who has outstanding payments that are made, that should be made to us but have not been made to us. It allows us to try and collect those amounts. These would be from our utilities and from our courts. Recoup a portion of the money that would be due to us based upon our internal cost in trying to get those collections. So the resolution itself just gives the Municipal Association the authority to act as our agent in collecting those dollars. We also have Terry Martin, who's our accounting manager for our enterprise fund. She's with us tonight in Margot's stead, and she can assist us with any questions that you may have that are specific to our set-off debt collection. But again, the resolution authorizes the Municipal Association to collect on our behalf.
Good, thank you. Are there any negative trends or positive trends to this debt? Is it
no, sir. Not that I'm aware of. For the tax year 17 that we used Municipal Association to collect those debts for us, we were able to recoup about $38,000 in the actual inactive delinquent debts and $4,700 in fees. So through this program, we generated $43,277 based on tax year 2017.
Dr. Thompson?
How long have we used this municipal association for collecting
debts? The last history that I showed was Resolution 313. So we've been using this at least since 2003. So that's 15 years.
Good, thank you. Anything else?
What is the nature of the debt? Is it, you said utilities and court costs?
Yes, sir.
Property taxes or?
No, it is not property taxes. It's just for utility collections and for our court system.
It's when we, as far as utilities go, when the debt becomes inactive, and that's after it's been on the books as delinquent for 60 days. They disconnect on the books as delinquent for 60 days, and after that 60-day period, it will become inactive, and at that point, those are the ones that we turn over to.
Thank you.
And we make this report, or in association with the Municipal Association, that we do this once a year. So we're not doing it on a monthly. We report, but in terms of the whole every delinquent account that's out there, that's an annual thing that we report to, ultimately to the DOR in terms of trying to get our money back.
Good. John, let's go John and then Dr. Thompson.
Okay. One quick question, or two actually. This contextual changes. So, what do they want to clarify just a little bit? Number one, is it just a change to their?
I think primarily it's not really anything that changes what we're doing. They're just anytime, like they have the Setoff Debt Collection Act, and for auditing purposes, they often make you go back and reaffirm the fact that you want to participate in the program. So this is essentially just reaffirming our participation. So there aren't any major changes at all that are being authorized by the resolution or the ordinance that's attached.
Do we know how much they went after on our behalf last year?
Yeah. Yes.
This year, for utilities, the amount will be about $643,000. That's what we'll be turning over to them with your guys' approval for those inactive accounts. Court system, I think, is about double that, but I don't have a lot of background on the court system. We can certainly pursue that a little bit further, but I think it's about twice as much.
I was just going to ask,
Dr. Thompson.
do we pay the municipal association a fee to collect for us?
We don't pay the municipal association well, yes, we.
The debtor will pay the fee. The debtor will pay the fee for the municipal association, for the Department of Revenue, and then for the city as well. It's 75 DOR, 25 DOR, 25 municipal association, and 20 for the city.
Good. Anything else, guys? Good questions.
We need a motion to
We
approve.
do.
I make a motion to approve this, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Harbin. We have a first by Mr. Harbin, a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That resolution passes unanimously, and I think we're on the same, in the same area here, but it's the second item is request consideration of an ordinance relating to the recovery of collection costs as part of the delinquent debt collection pursuant to the Setoff Debt Collection Act.
That's a mouthful.
It is.
The difference between the two is that the resolution that you just passed authorized the municipal association to be our claimant agent. This ordinance authorizes us to charge the fee for going through the process to try and collect our delinquent debt. So that's really the difference between the two. And this ordinance, that in addition to the fee, that means we are trying to recoup whatever cost we incurred in the process of trying to collect our delinquent debt.
Gotcha.
I just had one follow-up. The debt that we collect, that amount again is what that, like last year, they went after how much bad debt?
I don't have last year's total. This year for utilities it's $643,000 roughly, and then for the court system it's about double that.
Okay, so how much of that was actually collected?
Well, last year we collected $43,000.
So
And
we wrote off $500,000 in bad debt.
It stays on the books through the municipal association for 3 years. And if there's no activity, no payment made, no activity at all, then at the end of that 3 years, they no longer work those accounts for us.
Wow.
And remember that this money through the DOR, Department of Revenue, it actually reduces the debtor's state income tax refund. So I know it sounds like a lot of money that's out there in terms of what we submit versus what we collect, but you've got to have a income tax refund in order for us to be able to collect those dollars. So that's an important piece of the equation.
And they're notified, and they're actually given a 30-day period where they can satisfy that debt without being charged all the penalties. So, they'll be notified, this month, pending approval, and then they have until sometime in November to actually come in and make that payment. And then those penalties will not be incurred. But then once we finally turn it all over to the municipal association, the fees will be incurred at that
It
point.
just seems like a disproportionate amount of
It
bad debt,
does.
because if you're saying that the other is double, then we're collecting maybe 1%.
It's not huge by any means.
Okay.
Good. Any other questions?
Make a motion, we, excuse me. Excuse me. I make a motion to accept this ordinance.
First by Mr. John Roberts. Second by Mr. Harbin. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution passes unanimously. The last item of new business is request consideration of a resolution to adopt the Anderson County and Oconee County Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan. Ms. McCall?
This is certainly the time of year to be talking about this because it affects things like extreme weather events like hurricanes, which we've certainly, our state's certainly seen its share of, and more on the horizon. But our participation, adoption of this resolution is simply what starts the wheels in motion that should we be identified and declared that we have some natural disaster or emergency situation through these various weather events like earthquakes and floods and thunderstorms and such, then this sets the wheels in motion and makes us eligible to apply for reimbursement for costs that we incur, whether it's our time, our manpower, our equipment, our cleanup efforts, and we've certainly made application previously to be reimbursed by FEMA for those types of costs. And our staff, and we have with us tonight, we have Adam Kramer, Chris Everhart, Kim Mullenax, and as you all know, we have a whole team of people throughout the city who make up our emergency response team. Part of their efforts are aimed at keeping those good records so that should we need to be able to apply to recover our costs, we have the ability to do so. So our Anderson County and Oconee County have this plan. Our adopting the resolution that says we're part of this plan allows us to recover those dollars in the future or be eligible to recover those dollars for our expenditures in the future. And we have the real experts sitting behind us who can help answer additional questions or provide you with some additional information if you need that.
I guess my question, and we'll have one by Dr. Thompson, was when's the last time we collected? Well, I can't remember over the last decade or so that we've had anything.
We have collected for Irma, and I think we collected for Matthew.
Is that right?
Just Irma.
Irma, just Irma. Just Irma.
Okay. Dr. Thompson?
Does this cover the citizens who might have had something that happened to their homes? Or this is just for the city?
Y'all want to help me out?
Just for the city, right?
The question was, does it help with citizens, with their
The ones
homes?
who had their homes wrecked?
If there is flooding, if there's a disaster is declared and there's flooding, then part of being, since we have adopted this plan, then there could be federal funds available to assist through the floodplain program, whether it be from purchasing properties or planning for some sort of project to mitigate in the future to try to prevent additional flooding.
But only cover flooding?
Well, it covers a whole list of things, everything from flooding to earthquakes, tornadoes, any kind of major disaster. any kind of damage from that. The primary purpose of the flood hazard mitigation plan, and I'll just read the definition from FEMA, is the hazard mitigation is any sustained action taken to reduce or eliminate long-term risk to people and property from natural hazards and their effects. And the hazard mitigation is the only phase of emergency management specifically dedicated to breaking the cycle of damage and reconstruction and repeated damage. So adopting the plan allows us to look out in the future and try to predict some things that we need to do to help prevent and mitigate the loss of life or damage to property.
Citizens who would be affected would apply to the city to handle that problem.
No, that would not apply to us. We would adopt a project to assist, and we would assist the citizens in any of their applications.
But I think, but for example, if we had a bad flood and an individual's home was damaged, they would have to apply directly to FEMA.
Yes, they would apply directly to FEMA, and we would assist them in any way that we could. But I can say this: if you don't adopt the mitigation plan, then those federal funds that could assist them wouldn't be available.
That's a good point. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of years ago I went to something where we were redrawing the flood maps, and I think you're our point person on that.
Right.
Yes.
But the flood zones change constantly, right?
Yes, we get updated maps. We just got another set not too long ago.
Right.
I'm looking at now.
Good. Any other questions? Good question.
Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve this.
We have a first by Mr. Harbin, second by Mr. Jeff Roberts. Any other? Did you have something else, Dr. Thompson? No. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. We are at the administrative briefing, Ms. McCollum.
You have in your package our quarterly progress report. I won't go through that, but it covers your retreat issues as well as the major projects that we're working on. So take a glance at that and call us if you have any questions. With regard to upcoming events, we do have the Anderson County Municipal Association meeting at 7 p.m. It will be at the Civic Center this coming Thursday. And then the week of the 15th, a number of neighborhood meetings, the Westside Community Coalition at 4 p.m., C2 Neighborhood Watch at 6 p.m., C6 Neighborhood Watch at 6:30, and then the Southeast Anderson Task Force on Thursday the 18th. And last but not least, for that week, movie night in Carolina Wren Park with the movie Coco at 7 p.m. That's all we have in regular session, Mr. Mayor. We do have one piece of legal advice relating to possible litigation pursuant to the section 30-4-70A2. We do not expect any action to be taken in regard to this.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Thompson.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that's the time at the Civic Center where they're having this big bash and chili cook-off. Is that correct?
I was just getting ready to mention that, Dr. Thompson,
Okay.
because it's very important to me. The chamber is actually having a business expo that afternoon. I forget what time it starts, but 3 o'clock. But there is I've challenged other mayors in the county for chili cook-off. So I will make my world famous chili. And did Frankie just laugh?
That's the 11th.
Okay.
That's the 11th.
The 11th. And
It's going to be competitive.
it's very, very competitive. Okay. I'm trying to win, Dr. Thompson. But the chamber's putting on a chili cook-off, the mayor's. So Yes.
So we need to
Attend and vote.
make sure that we vote, right?
Exactly, yes,
Mayor Roberts, spectacular chili.
yes. All right,
I want to mention also that the last meeting that the municipal association, county municipal association meeting will be following the chili cook-off right there at the Civic Center. And I know that Williamson is the host for this month, but it's right here in Anderson. It'd be nice if some of us could go.
yes, I agree. So I would entertain a motion to go in executive session. First by Mr. Roberts, second by Mr. Chapman. All those in favor say aye. We stay in the executive session. We're going to stay in here. We'll ask you guys to leave and.
He got tired.
Good.
I would entertain a motion to come out of executive session. First by John Roberts. Second by Matt Harbin. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We stand out of executive session. In executive session, we heard legal advice relating to possible litigation from an outside counsel. Our management team, we instructed our management team to ask additional questions in regards to this litigation pursuit to section 3047A2. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First by Mr. Calhoun. Second by Ms. Donchap. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned.